We have a tweet here from BJP Karnataka. This was in response to something that Rahul Gandhi said about migrant workers, and to which the BJP Karnataka reacted and said, these migrant workers wouldn't have struggled for work in 2020 if only former PMs Nehru, Indira Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi, and Super PM Mother Sonia Gandhi had worked for India during their rule. Didn't they only work for the Gandhi dynasty, dear Rahul Gandhi? And I'm just like, dude, the BJP has been in power for 6 years and they're still blaming dead people for their fuck ups, okay? Like, I don't get it. Why stop at the Gandhis and Nehru? Just keep going, na? Like, blame the Mughals, Aryabhatta, Adam and Eve. Like, I don't know. Like, I won't be surprised if Modi ji just comes on TV on his next speech and he goes, मित्रों, वो ब्लैक होल के उस पार एक दूसरा दुनिया है जिसके वजह से ये माइग्रेंट्स को हज़ारों किलोमीटर चलना पड़ रहा है. What I love about the BJP is that they will just blame everybody but themselves for whatever's going wrong with the country today, okay? Like, even with the migrant issue, think about this for a second, okay? The BJP has thousands of crores at their disposal, okay? They had enough time to preempt a mass exodus and plan accordingly, but they chose to give a country of 1.3 billion people 4 hours notice about the lockdown, and then they did next to nothing to make sure that migrant workers got home safely. And now you're saying this is somehow Nehru's fault. To the average person, you look at this and you think this is stupid, but when you connect all the pieces, you realize that it's not. It's actually genius, okay? Check this out. A few days ago, a BJP MLA from Uttarakhand launched a Modi Aarti and said that he will build a Modi temple once the lockdown ends. According to him, Modi ji works for 18 hours a day, so he must have some divine powers. Do you know who else works 18 hours a day? Let me give you a hint. They are now using their divine powers to walk thousands of kilometers to get home. This is the genius of the BJP, okay? See, they know that they are terrible at governance. What they are good at is manipulation. They know that Indians love to worship. They prefer worship over results. Like, they know that we have this massive past life hangover where we believe that suffering is a virtue, and they're milking it. They're milking it. So everything that's going wrong with the country right now, they just club it under this whole, like, yeah, it's tapasya, Is that the word he used? I don't know what the fuck that means, but he said it. So you believe that the lack of results from this government is some form of worship because of how they're selling it to you, okay? Which is why they're now positioning Modi as some quasi-religious leader, someone who has descended straight from the heavens to lead India into some promised land. And they branded it really well. They called it Achhe Din. It's been how many years now they've been talking about Achhe Din, okay? And have you noticed now also, all his speeches are very vague. They're filled with metaphors and euphemisms. Like, he's never really saying anything concrete, Like, he's always talking about something that will happen someday. When, we don't know. Like, he never discusses facts, he never discusses figures, because he knows all of those things can be challenged. He will always leave the dirty work to his cabinet ministers, okay, which is a master stroke, because now every time there's a fuck up, he knows that people will get mad at them. No one's going to question him. Like, take the case of Nirmala Sitharaman, Like, she's getting a lot of heat for the stupid comments she's making, for the apathy she's displaying, and this sham of a stimulus package, right? Like, nobody gets mad at Modi even though he's the one who's really in charge. That's genius. People have already bought into this notion that Modi cannot be questioned no matter how bad things are. And it works because we want someone to worship. We don't want someone to govern. We don't want to hold someone accountable. It's bloody genius, dude. Yeah. Like, What do you think the banging of thalis and the lighting of diyas was? Do you think that was an act of solidarity? No, it was a test of faith. He wanted to see how much of his bullshit you have bought into, and he tested you, and the results were good, you know. And every time they blame Nehru and Congress for their fuck ups, what they're really doing is buying time. What they're saying is, hey man, look, the Congress ruined this country over so many decades. There's no way we can fix this in one term. So you need to keep voting for us again and again, okay? Because we clearly need 60 years to fix this. Oh, by the way, Muslims are your enemies. They're out to get you. And you fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker. You know? And now, because you believe them, they have a free hand to keep fucking up. They can do whatever they want. They know you're not going to question them. Like, the only tangible thing they've given you is hope and hatred, both of which will leave you dying in despair. You know, it's true. Think about it. The BJP is the most toxic government we've ever had. Okay, like, and I don't think they're going to do much for migrant workers. And here's why: politics is about numbers and voices. Okay, the numbers are necessary when you need to get votes, and those votes, make sure you come into power. The voices are necessary for you to stay in power. Okay, the numbers are usually made up of people who are disenfranchised, like migrant workers. They don't have power, they don't have money, but there's a lot of them. Whereas the voices are usually made up of the elite, the middle class, the upper middle class, people who have money and power. So what governments tend to do is they tend to care about what the voices have to say rather than what the numbers are going through. And in this case, they know that the voices do not care about the numbers. Like, they know, the BJP knows that we despise migrant workers. Okay, they know that we look down on them as inferior people who are lazy and just don't work hard. They know that we do not allow them to drink from the same glasses as we do or eat from the same plates as we do. They know that they are not supposed to use the same elevators as us. They know that we see migrant workers as subhuman, people who are just meant to serve us and then disappear into some dark cave. So if we don't treat them well, why should the government treat them any better? I read a news report the other day that said that 5 Brahmins in quarantine refused to eat food that was prepared by cooks from a lower caste. And I'm just saying, hey man, let them fast it out. Let's see what happens, Like, COVID-19 doesn't care about what caste you're from, how much money you have, or where you live, okay? Like, if it gets a chance, it will infect you. Like, how sad is it that a virus is more egalitarian than a Brahmin today? Here's a picture of a migrant child who woke up next to his dead mother on a railway platform. Okay, he was trying to wake her up, but she wouldn't move, and he couldn't understand why. She died of extreme heat, hunger, and dehydration, all because we have a government that does not care about these people. This death will be a mere statistic for most of us, but for that child, his mother is gone. He will never see her again. So the next time you want to sing praises of the government, hug your mother while you do it.